Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Welcome back to Noor Ishq, the path to surrender. A sacred sanctuary for the heart where fear dissolves, faith takes root, and the soul aligns fully with divine trust. Let's start our next chapter, the meaning of Fana. There are words on the spiritual path that carry depth yet are often misunderstood when approached without balance. One of these words is Fana. Many imagine Fana as something distant, mystical, or extraordinary. Something it is a sudden state, a dramatic experience, or a complete disappearance of the self. But the reality is far more subtle and far more beautiful. Fana is not a moment, it is a soft unfolding. It is not the destruction of the self, it is the dissolution of its dominance. In the earlier stages of the journey, the self stands at the center. I want, I fear, I choose, I control. Even in spirituality, the self remains active, seeking progress, seeking closeness, seeking experience. But as the journey deepens, something begins to change. The importance of the self begins to fade. Not abruptly, not forcefully, gently. The seeker begins to notice that the need to assert I is weakening. The need to prove, the need to control, the need to define oneself, all of it begins to soften. This softening is the beginning of Fana. It is the quiet realization that I am not the center. At first, this realization can feel unsettling because the ego has spent a lifetime building its identity. It wants to be seen, it wants to be secure, it wants to feel important. But Fana does not attack the ego, it simply reveals its limits. The seeker begins to see the self does not control outcomes, the self does not sustain life, the self does not carry its own existence. There is a deeper reality. Everything flows through Allah. This realization does not come as a concept, it comes as a felt understanding, a quiet awareness that begins to settle in the heart. And as it settles, the grip of the ego loosens. The seeker no longer feels the same urgency to assert themselves. They no longer feel the same need to be recognized. They no longer feel the same attachment to personal identity. This is Fana in its gentle form. The fading of self centeredness, the dissolving of ego dominance, it does not remove personality. It does not erase individuality. The, seek, the seeker still speaks, works, lives, and interacts. But something inside has changed. The center has shifted. Instead of living from I, the heart begins to live with awareness of He, not as a statement, as a quiet reality. Another sign of Fana is the reduction of inner conflict. Before the self constantly reacts, it resists what it does not like. It clings to what it desires. It fears what it cannot control. But as Fana unfolds, resistance begins to soften. The heart becomes more accepting, not passive, but peaceful. It begins to understand that life is not something to fight against. It is something to move through with trust. There is also a deep humility that emerges in this stage. The seeker begins to see their own limitations clearly. They recognize that every good within them is a gift. Every moment of awareness, every act of sincerity, every step on the path, none of it originates from the self. All of it is given. This realization removes pride at its root because there is nothing left to claim. Only gratitude remains. Fana also transforms love. Earlier, love may have been experienced as longing, then it became trust. Now it becomes surrender. The heart begins to love Allah not for what it receives, but for what He is. The heart begins to rest in Him without needing to hold on to anything else. This is a deeper, quieter love. A love that does not demand. A love that does not negotiate. A love that simply yields. And in this yielding, something extraordinary happens. The heart becomes lighter because it is no longer carrying the weight of itself, the burden of identity, the need of to define, the pressure to become something. All of it begins to fall away. What remains is simplicity, a servant standing before his Lord, present, humble, aware. It is important to understand that Fana is not an end, it is a transition. It prepares the heart for something else because when the self softens, when the, when the ego quiets, when the heart surrenders, the seeker does not disappear. They return, but they return differently, and this return is called Baqa. Thank you for listening. Until we meet again in the next chapter, may the light of these words illuminate your next steps, guiding you effortlessly from presence into deeper divine trust.